He has been told that my sons should not go out. People, parents, please lock your doors. Those who don't want my sons to get into their houses, please always keep your door locked, because there is no way I'm going to close my children in the house. Autism is the cancer in my house, and I have 3 cancers in my house. Mothers ask me, you're so strong. How do you do it? 3 kids, we are collapsing with one. How do you do it? We have targeted everything, our time, our resources, our energies towards eliminating this monster.
The boys were born in 2011 in California, US. They were prematurely born.
1 year went, their milestones were okay.
Each boy was moving separately, not getting together, and you could see that the attention span or the attention was very limited.
But as they grew up, we realized that these boys are just too active. By then, I would have expected when I call Eric, Lenny, or Rick, they would be able to respond. So I thought it's because the 3 of them, no one knows their names. The boys also didn't seem like they were recognizing their mother.
We expected them to have developed speech by 3 years, but they did not.
We went to different doctors, we went to different hospitals, and when I brought it up, they were like, oh, no, don't worry, it's because they are boys, they are triplets, they were premature. I would be walking out and I'm like, bye. No child is crying, no child is waving back bye. And by then, for sure, I knew that they should be doing that.
The first time I saw them in a classroom, they were all over the place. You would see Lenny climbing up the windows, Eric somewhere under the table. Ricky was a bit mild, but he still had his own challenging behaviors.
The whole semester, their booklets came and it was just written, still learning.
They were picking anything on the ground, any food, and putting into their mouth, even dirty things, and it was really devastating to us.
If you come to my house, you'll find that the TV is actually, we've put metal grills on it because several times they have dropped it down. We had to put lashes on every door inside and outside because these kids can rush into the kitchen and get into an accident. The seats are all broken because of jumping up and down, tearing them, eating them. The children had this behavior of disappearing. In fact, Eric disappeared 3 times in the middle of the night.
You'd hear that Lenny has crushed someone, Lenny has kicked someone, Lenny is spitting on other kids.
The biting, the spitting, the scratching. How are we going to stop this behavior? Eric. Eric, come back. Eric. Eric. We went to see the neurologist, and in 5 minutes, he said, these children are autistic. It was like being told your children are dead. From that moment on, I remember thinking each day, each week, each month, I remember thinking what will happen to my sons when they grow up. I remember thinking of all those people we see in the streets and we call them mad.
As parents, parents, it was very traumatizing. First of all, we didn't understand what autistic means.
So I decided to really get to read a lot about autism.
We came to understand what it requires. A lot of occupational therapy, physiotherapy.
I tried diets, GFC, casein-free, gluten-free.
I kept on seeing the neurosurgeon. What he was prescribed was only medication to keep the boys calm, and it wasn't helping them.
I remember the first time I read about stem cell. I was like, wow, this is really good. The mechanism, the treatment was scientifically sound. I read about NeuroGen because now there was the flyer. I was like, wow, India is just near home. And then someone is coming here to talk to us about it. So I was really very excited.
Last year, we had Dr. Alok Sharma come to Nairobi and give a lecture.
There are 70 million autistic kids in this world. There was no treatment for them. But today with stem cell therapy, we at NeuroGen have been able to treat over 1,000 children, and many of them have gone back to a normal life, to a normal school.
Before even we left the meeting, my husband was like, let's go next week. Our journey to NeuroGen was very smooth and very pleasant. We were received at the airport. The infrastructure that they have, that already gives you a good sense of safety and being taken care of. Their therapy rooms are like, wow. I looked at them, I was like, if I had money, I would stay here for 4 months.
We had a lot of questions which we asked, and we got very clear answers from Dr. Sharma. We got a lot of clarity, and we became very confident with it.
You really get to have your child assessed by all these different people who are all looking at different aspects. I had never gone through such a kind of an assessment. The day of the stem cell itself came. Actually, I was a bit anxious, of course, but really I didn't have fear. A bit of apprehension, anxiety, of course, as a mother, but I knew they're in good hands. What I like most about NeuroGen is it's a hospital and a research institute at the same time. It is in line with the global trend. They are really on top of the cutting edge. After stem cell, we went now for our usual therapies. I like the fact that they are using a multidisciplinary approach. They have all these departments special education, ABA, occupation department, psychology, nutrition, physiotherapy, speech therapy, all these things under one roof. The children now are able to get much more and make more faster progress. Stem cells has really unclipped our wings. It's like now there's freedom to fly. Stem cell has really given my sons a new lease of life. After the day of the stem cell, we are seated there, Eric trying to sneak out of the door, and Rick is on the other corner and he goes like, Eric, come back. Eric, where are you going? Come back. And we all froze. We are like, did you guys hear that? Or is it just my imagination? Ricky, who had one word and occasionally 2 words, he did a 5-word sentence and all very well placed.
The boys have calmed down, have increased their attention span.
Tell me number 7. Where is it? 7. Awesome. Hey.
Lenny wanted to keep hugging you, to keep holding you, touching your face. His fingers suddenly could be able to coordinate. His mood swing really changed. Eric now is able to stay outside of the house unaccompanied.
The children didn't know when a car is coming, it's supposed to move away. They used to move towards it. Right now, they're moving away like, boy, this is dangerous.
Their social interaction has really grown. Occasionally, I see the boys now tickling each other. It's like suddenly they are realizing, oh, we are here together. They'll even hold hands and do their favorite song of A Ring of Roses.
It's like magic. Miracle was happening because when they came back, there was a big difference in the boys. Eric was there able to express himself as much as he would not talk.
Yes.
Ricky was just like something else. It came, hey mama, she called him like, all right, this is Ricky.
I was so shocked, I screamed because I knew very well these boys couldn't talk. Stem cell works, but I didn't know it was going to work this fast.
The things that would have taken probably years to be accomplished in my sons, in like 8 months' time, we've really been able to come very far.
They used to defecate on their clothes, but now they can use the toilet. We've seen a lot of improvement in terms of spitting. The tantrums have reduced. Sleeping used to be a problem before, but at the moment, he is taken to his bed, it takes a few minutes, and he is asleep.
The boys' behavior has really improved such that our travel to NeuroGen Mumbai, this time it was really very pleasant. One of my dreams has been to see my sons cycle. We tried to make them understand what it is to pedal, and they couldn't. But after stem cell, when we arrived in Kenya the following day, and we went out, and these guys could cycle. The school, I remember after 2 weeks, the teacher calling me and saying, Mercy, really stem cell is working.
Stem cell therapy has come with a lot of blessings. There are things we used to struggle with as teachers that started falling in place. Okay, Lenny, I want you to show me some body parts. Okay, show me your eyes. Yeah, that's correct, eyes.
Eric, change the dots. Good.
Take and put with the same. And the last one is this one. Very good.
Ricky is doing just so awesome. He is growing in all areas, academic, socialization.
Rick, snatch the picture with the shadow.
What's your name? Down. Good job. Down. Back.
Wow.
Well done, Ricky. We can even walk in the streets of Nairobi. He can actually go to the shop and pay and get back the change and come with it. I'm going to send you to buy tomato paste, okay? I'm going to send you to buy what?
Tomato paste.
In the shop. Where is the shop?
It's here.
Okay. So I'm going to give you
Money.
for what?
Buy tomato lollipop. I'm going to wear my shoes. That's right.
We are able to go with the children to the supermarket, to the public gathering, to the church, and they are not as disturbing as they used to disturb before the stem cell therapy.
The boys are actually going to Sunday school, humming some songs and trying to repeat the actions. It's nice to see all these things unfold right in front of your eyes when you really didn't expect that to happen. The other thing that we do as a family yearly is to take the boys to the national park. So you can imagine this time when we went there and the boys were just awesome. Just the other day, we actually went out to a nice Chinese restaurant and the boys behaved so well. I couldn't just believe it. They ate their meals, they wore their napkins, they enjoyed the meal. If you just passed by, you wouldn't know that my sons are autistic. So this is really something I have longed for a very long time. It's something I've prayed for, and the fact that we can be able to do this, it just delights my heart.
The major achievement was getting Rick from a special needs school to a regular or normal school.
What is the name of your school?
That morning junior school.
doing so well without even shadow teacher, and he's even doing academics, which I had not dreamed for my sons doing academics.
I'm very happy because when he went to the regular school, he coped very, very well. And the teachers there are able to work with him.
Just seeing the PET scan results, seeing all that blue coming down, we were told that Eric has had 60% improvement, Lenny 40% improvement, and Ricky was told just a few more points and he'll just get off the spectrum completely.
This means our children in future are getting to be self-reliant, and this is very encouraging.
I'm very, very grateful to the NeuroGen team. Henry and I no longer walk the autism journey alone. That aftercare, they are so many miles far away and they are calling you, they want to find out how are the children doing. Dr. Sharma looked at my sons and he was like, oh my God, it's a lot of work for you. But what I can assure you is that these are my sons now and they're gonna get better. You have no clue, what this meant to me as a mother. It is so relieving. I can look forward for tomorrow because I know tomorrow definitely is better.
For parents who have children in similar condition, I would encourage them not to lose hope, but to seek stem cell therapy.
We've seen tremendous changes as professionals working with children with autism after they've gone for stem cell therapy. And I'd really encourage parents to have confidence in this intervention. I strongly believe that it can push our children to the next level in their lives.
After I die, I want my 3 sons to be independent and lead a better life than myself. Rick, Eric, Lenny, I love you.
They say that autistic children have no emotions. But for me, with my sons, this is a big mistake. I'm seeing my sons expressing their emotions. Ricky is actually telling me he loves me, and I find myself crying. Just tears of joy, tears of disbelief. It's something that only a mother can understand. It tells me that autism can be reversed. Parents ask me, so do you really think stem cell works? And I'm like, I can see changes, I can touch, I can feel, I can smell. Of course, for me, stem cell works. I'll do it until my children get well.
Hi, good morning to all the parents and professionals who have joined this webinar. Bonjour, Ashante, and hope you're having a good day today. I'm Dr. Nandini Gokulchandran, and I am part of the team of NeuroGen Brain and Spine Institute. I work with Dr. Alok Sharma to help children with various brain disorders as well as adults with various brain conditions to come to India and get treated with holistic treatment of regenerative medicine and rehabilitation, and now along with newer treatments. So I'm starting off this webinar with the initial introduction, and please do not worry, Dr. Sharma will be joining shortly. So the initial part of what is autism and how it affects the lives of children as well as adults, as well as their parents, is what I'm going to start with, to get an understanding of what are we dealing with in children with neurological conditions. And then, of course, how do we rectify this? How do we help children achieve their best potential? Dr. Alok Sharma, who will be joining shortly, is a neurosurgeon. He's the director of NeuroGen Brain and Spine Institute and the pioneer and the vision behind this, bringing together this frontier of medicine to help cure, help treat individuals with neurological disorders. He heads one of the biggest departments of neurosurgery in one of the biggest hospitals in the area of Mumbai city. Myself, Dr. Nandini Gokulchandran, I'm the Deputy Director of NeuroGen Brain and Spine Institute, as well as Head of Medical Services. So this presentation is more for purpose of awareness. It is to help parents understand the concept of regenerative medicine, because there are lots of myths, there are lots of misapprehensions, there are lots of miscommunication, lack of understanding about how this beautiful science can help give relief to so many people. And this webinar has been brought to for parents and professionals through Central Africa. So why are we here today? We are here today because we believe that our children need help. We have, well, either you have children who are either autistic or have Down syndrome, or who have cerebral palsy or intellectual disability or some neurological condition, or you are a professional who deals with such children, or you're a caretaker of certain children or adults with neurological conditions. And we are here to find out what can be done for them. How can we help them lead a better quality life and become more constructive participants of the community? So what do we have here? We have a combination of cell therapy with rehabilitation and with what is known as integrative therapies. So till very recently, we knew that for neurological conditions, whenever you would go to a doctor, they would say, do rehabilitation, do occupational therapy, do speech therapy, and that's all you had. Definitely rehabilitation is the pillar or cornerstone for treatment of neurological disorders. However, it's important to help the brain heal from inside, and that's where cellular therapy comes in. So cellular therapy, along with rehabilitation, for more than 10-12 years, we have been seeing giving beautiful outcomes. Now, in order to enhance the effect of this combination, we have now introduced our integrative therapies, which involves hyperbaric oxygen therapy and ozone therapy, and we'll be talking about this in a bit. So what is the concept? And I know you are thinking I'm talking of neurological disorder, and here you have a leg which is fractured. But why this? The concept of regeneration comes from healing. So just as a fracture of the leg first needs to heal, either you need to put a plaster, or you need to put a splint, or you need to put basically fix it with surgery before you can do exercise or put weight on it, or put any burden on it, or even do physiotherapy. So just imagine that you have a fractured leg and you are doing exercises with it. What could happen? The fracture would worsen. Similarly for the brain. If there is a fractured brain, or if there is a damaged brain, and you put pressure on the damaged brain, obviously the brain would revolt. So here you are seeing a brain with the blue areas. These blue areas indicate low functioning brain. And that low functioning brain needs to be improved. It needs to be stimulated, and that's where stem cell helps. You can see here the blue areas becoming green, the green indicating better functioning and improved functioning. And as the brain heals from inside, it regenerates and repairs from inside, then the therapy, then the rehabilitation that you give from outside is able to train the brain better. So till now, it was thought that central nervous system is incapable of regeneration. However, that is old dogma. That was there some maybe 20 years back, and more than 20 years back, it was found that there are niches in the brain, there are areas in the brain which continue to multiply lifelong. Just imagine if this would not have happened, how would you have created new memories? You are able to create new memories every second of the day, every day of the week, and through your life, isn't it? And that's because the brain cells are multiplying continuously and are able to network and connect. So the new concept is that regeneration is possible through a process of cellular replacement and repair. Okay, so this is the concept that we are going to understand more today. How does cellular therapy or cellular replacement help the brain? Now, stem cell therapy. Why is it important, or how is it important? It is important just as you saw Mercy's film of the triplets, from hopelessness where children would be running around and spitting and rolling on the ground. They have come to a place where they sit in the classroom and study. That is coming from hopelessness to hope. And that's what cell therapy is achieving or doing for thousands of children in the world now. So what are stem cells? Okay. Stem cells are like stem of a tree. Stem of a tree gives rise to branches. It gives rise to flowers and fruits and leaves. So stem cells are like seeds in the soil. These seeds in the soil gives rise to different parts of our body depending on where you put them. Okay, so if I put these seeds in the liver, they can become liver-like cells. If I put them in the heart, they can help the heart regenerate. If I put them in the knee joint, they can help the knee joint be stimulated. Okay, the arthritis for patients with arthritis, patients with cartilage damage, sports person, all of these. Similarly, at NeuroGen, we are using these cells to improve the brain functioning. So there are different types of stem cells, and there are different ways that you can actually procure it from. So when I take the cells from my own body to help repair my own body, it is known as autologous. That is, take cells from me and put it in my own body. So self, auto means self. So autologous transplantation, like taking from the bone marrow and putting it in the brain, or taking from the leg and putting it in the heart. Okay, and then there are donor cells. So you can take cells from outside and put it in somebody else's body, like for blood disorders, like hematopoietic stem cell. This transplantation is being done for years together. As you know, in Africa, there are a lot of sickle cell anemia, there's a lot of thalassemia. These patients need cells from somebody else's bone marrow, from siblings or from related donors. And there it is known as allogenic, like from donor to a recipient. So how do these cells work? What do they actually do? These cells have the possibility of multiplying many times. So one cell becomes many cells, okay, thousands of cells. And so not all cells in our body have that potential. These cells one cell, stem cell can multiply many. So there are blood forming cells which can multiply. You know that fat cells, even if you don't want to multiply, right? Your teeth has cells which multiply. So there are certain pockets in our body which have the potential to multiply many fold. Then they can convert into other cell types. Okay, as I said, if you put them in the muscle, they can become muscle cells. If you put them in the cartilage, they can become cartilage cells. They can, if you bone marrow transplanted to another bone marrow, it helps to refilter the bone marrow. So for example, this is a stem cell cultured in the laboratory on water in an artificial medium. So here you can see the cursor. This round thing is the original stem cell. And when cultured in the laboratory, they become, you can see neuron-like cells here, like star, okay, and which connect with one another. So this is what we need these cells to do in the brain, not only to improve the brain functioning, increase the cells, but also connect. They have what is known as paracrine effect. What is paracrine effect? Stimulation, release of positive chemicals, and thereby stimulating neuroregeneration and repair. So different positive chemicals are released once we put the cells in the body. So once the cells are put, they release growth factors, they release cytokines, which reduces the inflammation in the brain. They release brain-derived neurotrophic factors. So all of these help the brain cells to get stimulated and start repairing and healing. Most importantly, stem cells produce or improve blood supply. They produce newer blood vessels known as neoangiogenesis. So formation of new blood vessels is very important part of the stem cell mechanism of action. So by improving the blood supply, they release oxygen. So oxygen is the gas, or oxygen is the molecule which helps to heal, isn't it? Like if we have a wound in the hand, how does it heal? It heals by the improvement of blood supply and release of oxygen. So oxygen is the life-giving molecule or life-giving gas. Now, okay, stem cells do this, but where do we get them from? What are these different type of stem cells? You know, I see a lot of discussion on various groups that, you know, stem cells from the plants, and, you know, there are these stem cells which come in a bottle, okay? So those are not live stem cells. Those are plant stem cells, and these are the extract of the plant stem cells. So extract of the plant stem cells will have only the positive chemicals, possibly the antioxidants. So those would be like medications or medicines, right? But here we are talking about stem cells as live biological tissue or cells. So these are live cells from another human being here. Okay, so we have embryonic stem cells. So embryonic stem cells here, you can see we were all born as stem cells. So when we were in our mother's womb, on day one, this is how we were. So the sperm and the ova, they fertilize and we get one cell. And that one cell becomes 2, becomes 4, becomes 8, and becomes a bunch of about 32 cells. And from there, this particular 5-day embryo is formed. And here you can see this bunch of cells known as inner cell mass. These are the stem cells. And if these stem cells are used, they can form any part of the body. And on the culture plate or in the laboratory, these cells are found to form each and every tissue of our body. So this is the potency of an embryonic stem cell. Okay, so embryonic stem cells, where do you get it from? From in vitro fertilization clinics, right? So when couples who don't have children, they go to a doctor and say, okay, we want to have a child, but then what do? You fertilize the embryos outside in what is known as a test tube baby, right? So 10 to 12 embryos are fertilized. Out of that, 2 or 3 goes into the mother's womb and rest get wasted. And from those waste embryos, a lot of research was happening a long time back in 96, 97, 98. However, in 1998 or 99, President George Bush of the United States actually stopped federal funding for embryonic stem cell research on religious grounds, not on scientific grounds, on religious grounds, because a certain lines of thought or certain religions believe that life starts at conception, and hence the use of or the study or research on embryonic stem cells was stopped at that point. However, there are other types of cells that can be used both for research and for treatment. One of them is, which you have heard of, I'm sure, is cord blood stem cells, right? Cord blood stem cells are when a child and mother is joined with a umbilical cord. So all mothers know that. So when the child comes out, that cord is cut, and that cord is a very good source of stem cells for that particular child. So that again becomes a very good source of stem cells. But suppose we don't have embryonic stem cells and we don't have cord blood stem cells, what do we have? We have in our own body areas which continue to multiply and have stem cells throughout our life. And as we know, blood forms again and again. We donate blood whenever there is a need, isn't it? So that blood is formed in our bones. And those long bones are a very good source of cells, stem cells, which are our own stem cells. They are not a product. They will not cause us any harm, and they will get replenished. So we take the bone marrow, it forms again within a couple of days. So adult stem cells from bone marrow becomes a very good source, no ethical issues, okay, no cost for saving, no rejection issues. And hence bone marrow adult stem cell becomes a very attractive source of stem cells. The fourth type of stem cells, which is now being studied a lot after 2012, because in 2012, the understanding of this type of stem cells was awarded a Nobel Prize. So induced pluripotent stem cells are designer stem cells where our skin cells, which are our age, so whatever my age be, which I of course don't want to reveal, so this skin cells can be converted into infant cells, my age of 0 or lesser. So this skin cells, by the process of stimulation using different growth factors, so this skin cell can become an embryonic cell without having to go through a test tube baby. Okay, so this is known as induced pluripotent stem cells, and a lot of work is happening on it, though still in research phase. So what do we have here? We have embryonic stem cells because of ethical issues, is not used, also because they are able to form different types of cells of our body. They do form what are known as teratomas or tumors, and then hence for these reasons they cannot be used for treatment purposes. However, cells taken from our own bone marrow, which are our own cells, will not cause any rejection. If healthy, can be used without any side effects, and hence a very good source, a very feasible option for use in stem cell therapy. So at NeuroGen, we use adult stem cells from bone marrow because they are safe, they are non-tumorogenic, so no tumor formation ever, as opposed to in embryonic stem cells, no rejection. So it is our own cells, they will be very well re-welcomed by our own body. Easily obtained, it is not a big surgery, just one needle in the hip bone and one needle in the back. So it is taking out as like us using a very thin needle, no cut, no stitches, no scars, and no ethical issues. We are not killing an embryo, we are not using any embryo, and these are cells from our own body. So how can they be introduced into our body? What are the different ways that they can be introduced? So if you look at it, the simplest way anything can be introduced into our body is intravenous, right? We can put the cells, put an IV ventral on an IV line, like we put drips, right? So we can inject the cells there. That is all right if there is a problem in the rest of the body or if there is a problem in the lungs, because these cells will go through this fluid, through the blood, and it will go to one part of the heart, then pumped into the lungs, get filtered in the lungs, go back to another part of the heart, and then it gets released into the bloodstream for the rest of the body, and very few would finally reach the brain. So here we are talking about neurological disorders, and hence we have to find a way where we can reach the brain effectively, right? So intravenous is a good way, it's simple, it is safe. However, how effective it is for brain conditions, we still do not know. The other end would be injecting directly into the brain, and that is known as intracerebral injection using stereotactic techniques. Now, injecting directly into the brain would, of course, be most efficient. However, it would also be most risky because we are putting a needle into the brain through the skull, and we can go through normal tissue and maybe damage it. And though it may be efficient, it is risky. So we have to find a way which is efficient, however, very less risky. So what we have found here is injecting here into the spinal fluid at the lower back. When we inject here, we are going into a fluid which goes all around the brain and spine, without damaging it, but also crossing all the barriers which may prevent the cells reaching the brain. So it's an almost direct route without causing damage. So what are stem cells going to do here in a child with autism or in a child with cerebral palsy? What are we going to do? What it's going to do is, you can see the scan here. The blue areas are the damage. The cells will reach here and they will repair the damage and reduce the damage in the brain. Okay, so healthy cells will replace the damaged cells, and the therapy that we give will help the connections. So what is the scientific basis for this therapy? Like, is it something which has come yesterday, or many people feel it's a quack therapy, or some people say it's not really understood? But is that true? Now let's look at the history of stem cell research. The history is extremely rich. Okay, so if we look at Nobel Prizes given for any medical treatment or any medical discovery, you will never find 3 Nobel Prizes in the whole history given for one area of research. But in stem cells, in 1990, the first Nobel Prize was awarded for the demonstration of stem cells in the bone marrow, the most studied stem cells in our body. So 1990, so you can imagine when the work started. The work would have started in, say, 1960 maybe. That's where he got a prize in 1990. Then in 2007, Sir Martin Evans was awarded the embryonic stem cell award for discovering embryonic stem cell. And then recently I told you about induced pluripotent stem cells or designer stem cells. So 2 scientists, one from the US, one from Japan, received a Nobel Prize for this particular discovery. So the understanding of stem cells is huge. There is a lot of understanding, there's a lot of research going on, and it's not something which is come yesterday. So what about the scientific basis of the work that we do at Neurology? At NeuroGen is just not a clinic. It's not a shop. It is an institute. Why? Because there is a lot of research background to everything that we say or do. So everything that we are talking here or going to be talking here has a background of research, and the research is continuously ongoing. Yes, it is an evolving field, but everything in life is evolving, isn't it? Right, from telephones to internet speeds to a computer. So why not medical treatment? So medical treatment, and especially something which is at the frontier of medicine and something which is doing, which was never expected to be done, will always be an evolving science. So over the last 13 years, we have published 101 publications in different national and international journals, a maximum of them in autism. A lot of work we've done in autism. We've shown a lot of good results in autism, in cerebral palsy, in muscular dystrophy, spinal cord injury, brain stroke, intellectual disability, and amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, and many other neurological conditions. In autism, we have written book chapters in different books. We have written book chapters in different books, like Recent Advances in Autism, where we were invited to write a book chapter on stem cell therapy in autism. We have been invited to write a book chapter in stem cell therapy in cerebral palsy in one of the international books, which is named as Cerebral Palsy Challenges for the Future. So this, we've written a chapter on stem cell therapy in pediatric neurological disorder in a book on physical disabilities, therapeutic implications. So everything that will help patients, all the books which talk about newer discoveries, frontier discoveries, cutting edge discoveries, we have been invited to write a book chapter. And so this gives us credibility. This shows that people internationally are also looking to us because we are the pioneers in this work. Government of India at the highest level is also supportive of stem cells. Here is our Prime Minister who went and visited the Nobel laureate, Professor Yamanaka, to go and see how stem cell, the cutting edge science of induced pluripotent stem cells can be brought to India. Here is Professor Dr. Alok Sharma handing over or presenting the book that NeuroGen and Dr. Sharma's team has written on stem cell therapy in neurological disorder to our Honorable Prime Minister Modi. This is our Prime Minister has written a preface for one of the books that we have written in a local language, Gujarati, on muscular dystrophy. And here is Prime Minister talking about stem cells in our parliament.
तो जापान मेरे कार्यक्रम में मैंने एक कार्यक्रम क्या जोड़ा, मैं वहां एक नोबेल लॉरिएट साइंटिस्ट यामाहा को मिलने गया। मैं इसलिए किया गया, उन्होंने स्टेम सेल के अंदर जो रिसर्च की है, मैंने जितना पढ़ा था तो मेरे मन में आया था शायद इनकी एक खोज हमारे काम आ सकती है। हम गए तो वहां गए, उनसे चर्चा की और बेंगलोर के हमारे साइंस इंस्टीट्यूट के साथ आज उस दिशा में हमारा काम हो रहा है कि स्टेम सेल्स के द्वारा हमारे युवा साइंटिस्ट कुछ खोज करें।
So the Prime Minister is talking about the importance of stem cells in various disorders. Here is referring to various blood disorders in the tribals of India known as sickle cell anemia. So that's again a disorder which cannot be treated. So this is about the background. Now, how the treatment is done, how it is effective in various disorders. I would like Dr. Alok Sharma, who is here to talk to you about it.
Thank you, Dr. Nandini, for this wonderful introduction. Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Alok Sharma, and I'll be talking to you further about. So you've heard now what stem cells are. You've seen our publications. You've seen the background of what this means to society at large, and now I come to real, practical reality. How is this treatment done? Because it sounds big. Stem cell therapy. People think it's some big operation or surgery or cutting or stitching. No, it's not. It's something really very simple. So there are 3 steps to the procedure. First, we put a needle into the pelvic bone, that is the bone just above the hip bone, and aspirate the bone marrow from the child's bone. So the bone marrow is the liquid inside the bone, and it comes out with a single needle prick. I'll show you a small video of how we do it. The bone marrow that we have removed, we take it to our laboratory where we filter it. We separate the stem cells from it. And then once we have the stem cells, with a very thin needle, we inject it into the lower back, into the lumbar spine, from where it goes to the brain. So in this whole procedure, there are only 2 needle pricks. With one needle, we take out the liquid in the bone called bone marrow. And with one very thin needle, we inject it into the lower back, into the fluid of the spine, which takes it to the brain. There is no operation. There is no stitching. There is nothing major. Just 2 needle pricks. This procedure of aspiration takes about 15 minutes, and the injection also takes about 15 minutes. In between, it takes about 4 hours to separate the stem cells. So let's see a video how it is done. So here you can see this is the bone marrow. You can see it's coming out red in color. We take it to a laboratory. It is run through various machines. The stem cells are separated. And then with a very thin needle, it is injected back. So you can see these are the stem cells. They are injected into the lower spine. Let's see this video once again. So here is the child sleeping. You can see with the needle, the bone marrow is coming out. It is run through machines. And here you can see how we inject it with a very thin needle into the lower spine. So I'm showing you this again and again to show you that there are only two needle pricks, like how you withdraw blood for a blood test. With one needle, we withdraw bone marrow. We separate stem cells in the laboratory, and then with one thin needle, we inject it back. And what are we injecting? We are injecting cells from the child self. Okay, there's nothing from the outside. There's nothing artificial. These are cells from the child, which we put back into the child. So let's look really now at what exactly is autism. So autism is a neurodevelopmental disorder. It was first described in 1943. Normally, the diagnosis is made in the first 3 years of life. We don't refer to it as autism anymore. We call it a spectrum disorder, which could be mild, moderate, or severe. And boys have it 4 times more often than girls. Now, what is surprising is that the incidence of autism is completely going through the roof. I mean, in 2004, it was 1 in 166 children, and now it is in 2018, it went to 1 in 59. In 2021, it's actually become 1 in 50. So there is a huge increase in the incidence of autism, which means there are 70 million people on the spectrum, which is 1% of the world's population. So this is a very significant increase. There is no other illness in children which has increased as much as autism has increased. Basically, the symptoms are a combination of poor social interaction, impaired communication, and certain repetitive behaviors. What is new? Why are we attending this webinar? And what is the message I want to give? First message I want to tell you is that today we have a much better understanding of autism. In the past, all that was done was a diagnosis was made and you were told, okay, just do rehabilitation. But today, modern brain imaging gives us a lot of information about what exactly autism is. And now we have a new treatment that can actually fix the fundamental damage in autism, and that is called stem cell therapy. So that's what's new. What is our new understanding of autism? So these are now new scans. They are called PET-CT scans. They are functional scans. They show you how the brain is functioning, and whatever appears blue, light blue or dark blue, this is impaired brain function, impaired metabolism. This is brain that's not working properly. This is brain that is damaged. This is brain that is inactive. And all the symptoms of autism can be explained by this part of the damage that we see. We've done this in over 3,300 children, and in almost every child, not almost, in fact, every child of autism has had more or less similar problems. In a research project, we did this in normal children, and not a single normal child had this blue. So for the first time in medical history, we actually know what exactly is happening in the brains of our children with autism. So far, you'll be surprised and shocked that nobody had studied this. We just labeled our children with autism and didn't even bother to look into their brains and understand what is going on. But now we know, and this work of ours is published in a very prestigious journal called the World Journal of Nuclear Medicine, where we've actually showed, what are the developmental metabolic changes in the brains of children with autism as seen on the PET-CT scan. So we've described this and we've published this in a medical journal. What we found as part of our research was interesting. So SUV is the standard uptake value. This is a sign of brain function. The higher it is, the better it is. And here is age, 0, 5, 10, 15. Now, blue is normal children. So normal children, from the age of 3, 5 onwards, their brain activity keeps on increasing. You notice this is normal children who are not on the spectrum, whereas children on the spectrum, it actually progressively decreases. Now, this was surprising. We were very surprised at our own research. We always thought, and the world believed, that whatever you have in autism is static. You have autism, the damage remains. What we are finding is that the damage progressively increases over time. Now, why is this important? This is important because if you treat a child, let's say you treat a child at 5 years, you have to only bridge this gap. But if you treat the child at 15 years, you have to bridge this gap, because this is how we want our children's brains to be. Uh, Obviously, this is more difficult than this. So it is important that we intervene early, whether it is rehabilitation, whether it is stem cell therapy, whether there are other alternative treatments, because the longer we wait, the more damage we have to handle. So this is part of our research based on the scans that we have done. Now, management of autism is multidisciplinary, and there is no one silver bullet. People look for one silver bullet. We do one thing and autism will disappear. Even stem cell therapy is not that one single bullet. It actually works as a combination. So we have all the rehabilitation therapies, the behavioral analysis, the speech therapy, art-based therapy, the occupational therapy, special education. And, people use biomedical and neurofeedback, chelation, hyperbaric oxygen, aquatic therapy. All this needs to be done as well. And stem cell therapy is an addition to it, but stem cell therapy does not work by itself. It has to be done as a combination along with all these treatments. So we've looked at stem cells. Now let's look a little bit at neurorehabilitation. So there is behavioral analysis, because we know every behavior has something that precedes it and there's a consequence. And by modulating that, you can modulate behavior. We're all familiar with occupational therapy, but occupational therapy has several components. There's sensory integration, there's activities of daily living, play therapy, social skill training, cognitive behavioral therapy, school-based interventions, recreational activities and sports rehab, vocational rehab. So there are lots of parts to occupational therapy. One important part is sensory integration. And this is what a SI room looks like. And a lot of our children do have sensory issues. And we find that sensory integration, this is the SI room at our hospital. Then there is speech therapy. And now it was earlier believed that what is important is just motor speed. But now we believe more than speech, it is communication. We have to train children to communicate their needs and their thoughts using motor as well as other skills. Then it was earlier believed that physiotherapy has no role in autism, but now we have seen that actually these kids have problems in coordination, in tone, in gait, in posture, and so we believe that physiotherapists have a role to play with autism as well. Aquatic therapy is very, very useful. And we find it has several benefits, from improving cognitive function, attention, concentration, sleep patterns. What we find is sleep patterns improve a lot. Hyperactivity. So aquatic therapy is not swimming. It is rehab in water. And we have a special aquatic therapy system at our place. Then there are art-based therapies, music therapy, dance therapy. There's removal of heavy metals, chelation, TRS, detox. There are supplements that people use, from vitamin B6, C, omega-3, DMG, prebiotics, etc. And all these are fine. This is all part of the treatment. Diet is an important part to shift to a gluten-free, casein-free diet. The foods to eat are pre and probiotics, ketogenic diet, gluten and casein-free diet, vitamin-rich foods, camel milk, curcumin, etc. So these are foods that we must encourage, and foods to avoid that you're all aware are sugars, additives, pesticides, genetically modified organisms, inorganic processed foods, etc. So a ketogenic diet is one which is high in fat, just has enough proteins and low carbohydrates. But despite this, are we doing enough? I mean, we know that we have many of you have done all of this, and despite that, our children still haven't got back their speech. Our children aren't able to go to normal schools. Our children are still not able to, handle their behavioral issues. So we need some fundamental correction of the problem in the brain, and this is where stem cell therapy comes in. So we have now treated more than 3,000 patients, but this is just some of our data which we have analyzed of 700 patients. And as you can see, 33% of our patients had a significant improvement. That means they went off the spectrum. They no more had autism. 29% of our patients had a moderate improvement, which means they became independent. 25% had a mild improvement, and 10% didn't improve. Now, interestingly, what we saw was there was an age correlation. So all these kids who had a significant improvement, they were all before 11 years, less than 11. In fact, they were all before puberty. So what we find is puberty has a very important role to play. If you treat the children before puberty, you are all aware of what puberty is. In boys, it is when they develop, when they get a mustache, hair on the face, their sexual organs develop. In girls, it is when they start getting their menses. So our research shows that if you treat these children before puberty, you can actually get them completely off the spectrum. But if you treat them after that, they do improve, but they still will have some residual symptoms. Now, all these 10% who had no improvement, they were all older. They were all over 20 years. Now, this matches with the graph I showed you that, the longer you wait, the more brain damage there is. So if you wait very long, then the brain damage becomes so much that it's not possible to correct it. So early intervention, early treatment, that's the key. I'm a responsible doctor. I'm a professor at the medical school, director of an institute, and all your doctors have said, well, stem cell therapy does not work for autism. So what is the base? On what basis can I say? I'm saying this on two things. One, of course, our work is all published, and we showed you the world's first publication is from our institute. Our data must have statistical significance, our results. And second, we must be able to show objective improvements on brain imaging. So this is just to show you there are scales like the CGI scale, the Indian scale for autism. And if you take an average of all the patients treated before and an average after, you by a mathematical calculation, you can say, is it statistically significant? And we have found that it is. So this is an average score of all the patients before the stem cell therapy, and this is 6 months later. And again, that's significant. And if you see the breakup of symptoms like social relationship, emotional responsiveness, speech, behavior, sensory, cognitive, etc., again, all of these, when you take the average before and after, it is significant. And this is the most important slide of my talk. Above what you see are images of brain images of a child with autism before stem cells. This is the same child. The image is taken at different angles. This is from the top, this is from the front, and this is from the side. Whatever is light blue is brain that's damaged. This is before, and below what you see is after. So this is treatment after you can see the significant reduction. Here you can see this damaged blue, and now you can see a significant reduction. So our children at present have brains like this. They are brains which are hypermetabolic. And we are making them do therapies on brains that are damaged. We are trying to get our kids to do stuff that they cannot do. Their brains are not in a capacity to do because of the damage. Now, once we treat with stem cells and we get this improvement, now that same rehabilitation would work wonderfully. So this is just to show you, and I'm showing you one or two, but we have over 3,000. Yes, over 3,000 before and after scans. And all of them show something like this. In fact, some even better than this. This here again shows you before, you can see above, and the blue which is damaged, and afterwards the blue that is gone. Here again, you can see the blue above, and you can see below after stem cell, it's gone. So that's objective proof. But a lot of people asked us, because we do this scan after 6 months, they said, how do you know that, after 2 years, 3 years, the damage doesn't come back? So in a few patients who insisted on doing it, we actually did this year after year. Here you can see the damage, 2012, and you can see in 13 it is improved, and you can see in 14 it is progressively improved. So we have shown that the improvement is sustained and progressive. It's not a one-time thing. It doesn't come back. Once that blue goes away, it never comes back. So the improvement is a permanent improvement. The world's first scientific paper on stem cell therapy in autism has been published from India. It is published from our institute, and I'm the principal author of it. And that's a matter of great pride for us that we published the world's first paper. The second, so this is our first paper. The second paper came from China, the third paper from Italy, and the fourth and fifth papers have come from the Duke University in America. This is something that is a genuine matter of pride for us that we have the world's first paper. After that, we have 15 other papers on stem cell therapy in autism, and you've already seen a movie before, but we had some short clips of children from 5 of the different continents, from America, from Europe, Asia, Africa, you've just seen, and Australia. For want of time, we won't go through all of that. We'll just see one video. We'll see the boy from America. So this is Ganesh. He was 10 years when he came to us. He had autism, and let's hear his story from his parents.
I couldn't get him to engage With me, I couldn't get him to give me eye contact. Over time, he started to lose a lot of vocabulary. Right around 18 months to the age of 2 years, he just slid backwards.
He would flap like that, and he would walk on his tiptoes, look at the wall and be talking to the wall. He had problems with eye contact. He never looked you straight in the eye. He had problems with his speech. Some research and found out about NeuroGen. And the big question that I had in my own mind was, what is there to lose? And I could not come up with a good answer. And I said, we have to do it.
We started seeing better eye contact, definitely a difference in his engagement with us, with his sibling, his mood. He was so much calmer. Now he's all about taking his own shower. I have to just prompt him to get out, but he'll wash himself and he'll put his clothes on. It's all the PET scan images. I can't tell you the word. We were just so excited and thrilled. The areas that were hypoactive or non-active were warm. There was activity there. Ganesh has gone from the 3rd grade, 4th month reading level to a 7th grade, 1st month reading level in 5 months.
And that is truly amazing, you know. In 5 months, he shifted from a 3rd grade to a 7th grade. And here you can see that he's getting all A+. So his autism is almost completely reversed and his speech is normal. All his issues are resolved. He's in a normal school, getting A+ grades. So that's the power and miracle of stem cells. This is the 3 triplets. You just saw that movie before. We'll just show you one shot of the clip. This is a child from India. He was very hyperactive. He had poor sitting tolerance.
Shantanu was my first child, so I was very excited about how he would be. But when I came to know that my child has a problem, it shocked me and I wondered, why did this happen only to me?
Shantanu's behavior was very different from that of other normal children. For example, normal children walk on their feet, but Shantanu walked on his toes.
It has been 2 months since Shantanu's stem cell therapy. There have been many changes and many improvements. His hyperactivity has reduced drastically, and his attention span has improved a lot. He sits patiently in one place. He has started coordinating with his sister very well. He plays with her very affectionately. We are glad we took the decision to give him stem cell therapy. It has been 6 months since the stem cell therapy. Shantanu has shown a lot of improvements. His hyperactivity is almost as good as non-existent. His handwriting has become much better. His eye contact has also become better. I have never seen Shantanu dancing, but now he takes a keen interest in dancing. He also likes to listen to music. He can now fold clothes. Earlier he was not able to fold even a handkerchief, but now he can easily fold blankets. He helps me in cutting vegetable and in cooking too. Goes to the market store for purchases. He passed his 10th grade.
It's very important. He passed 10th grade of school and is now in college.
There have been improvements in many other aspects as well. For example, this emotional quotient has also increased. Now he hugs us very affectionately, calls me mother. Now he takes tuitions of other special kids.
He takes tuitions of deaf children. A child who could not speak takes tuitions of deaf children now. So those are the things. So that was about autism. Very quickly, we'll look at a couple of other things. We look at cerebral palsy. Now, in cerebral palsy, there is brain damage, but the problem is seen more in the body rather than the higher function. So you can have a weakness and tightness on one side, or just the legs, or all the limbs. So there are different types of cerebral palsy depending on where the damage is. And as you can see on the PET scan, the damage in cerebral palsy is far more severe than that in autism. There are different drugs available for the spasticity, for convulsions, etc. There are some surgeries available, both orthopedic and neurosurgery, but these don't resolve the fundamental problem in the brain. And this is the role of stem cell therapy that comes in, and this is our data. Once again, we've treated over 3,000 patients, but this is data which we've analyzed. 20% had a significant improvement, 41, that means they're completely independent, have no residual symptoms and signs of cerebral palsy. 41% had a moderate improvement, means they're independent, but they still have some symptoms. 30% is mild, 9% don't improve. Now in CP, there is no age correlation. So we can't say the younger the child, the better results. It depends on the severity. The other symptoms that improve are their oromotor, their drooling, their balance, trunk balance, lower limb, upper limb, tone of the muscles, ambulation, and activities of daily living. Here's a scan that shows you the damage. Above shows you before the stem cell, how much it is, and lower down shows you how it is reduced. Here again, on the left side, this is the damage before, and after stem cell, you can see that blue is almost completely disappeared. So even if the damage is severe, stem cell therapy helps to repair the damage. There is no other treatment available in modern medicine that can repair this kind of damage. There is nothing except stem cells. There is no medicine. There is nothing else that can actually make this happen. And this is objective proof of improvement. I mean, of course, the children improve. A child on a wheelchair starts walking. I mean, there are visible improvements, but the PET scan shows you objective real-time improvements. Again, our work is published. This is the prestigious journal again, Stem Cell International. Though it was not the world's first paper. Somebody had published this before us. And we have several papers after that on stem cell therapy and cerebral palsy. A very short video of this child from Nairobi. He was totally wheelchair bound, severe spastic quadriplegia. He could not use his hands and legs at all, could not stand. And now you can see after the treatment, he is not only sitting by himself, he can move his clothes. This was impossible before, completely impossible. And now you can see what he's doing. He's able to actually, he could not use his hands at all. They were so tight. And now you can see he's not only standing, but he could remove a bottle, he could open it and drink water. This is something so important that, he's now functioning independent. And there you can see he's walking now independently. So a child who was totally wheelchair bound is now able to walk independently and use his hands and legs. So this is the magic and power of stem cells in cerebral palsy. Very quickly, muscular dystrophy. This is a condition where the muscles, the muscles start getting damaged and they become less powerful, so that the movements become restricted. So although you still see some bulk muscles, but the muscle protein gets replaced with fat. And this is what happens here at 5 years. The gray, this is normal. Gray is normal muscle. You can see with age, the gray becomes less and less and less, and white, which is fat, comes in. And at 16 years, there's almost no muscle at all. It's only fibro-fatty tissue. So the muscle gets replaced with fat. Here's to show you at 5 years, the difference between 5 years and 21 years. So these are our results, and you can see 4.5% of a very small ratio have a significant improvement, but 35% are moderate, 20% are mild, and 14% stabilize. Now you have to understand that if not treated, in one particular type of muscular dystrophy called Duchenne muscular dystrophy, all of them would have died. See, all these kids, they die by the time between 20 and 25. There's not a single living child of Duchenne muscular dystrophy alive beyond 25. But our children after stem cells have crossed 30, 35 and are living beyond that. So in muscular dystrophy, this treatment is life-saving. Children are dying who do not die because their own body cells can actually help save their lives. So you have to compare this data to the fact that even if they become stable, that's good. Stable is good, because untreated, they would have deteriorated. And here is a comparison between treated and untreated patients. So patients who are treated with stem cells, they stabilize like this. And patients who did not take stem cells deteriorated like this. All right. So this is a comparison between patients treated with stem cells and without stem cells. And here is objective proof of improvement. Here you can see this is all white, and after treatment it becomes black. which is muscle regenerating. So we have objective proof that the muscle regenerates. And this is an EMG before. You can see it's very weak, and you can see post stem cell. It's much bigger, a much better contractions. And we have, of course, several publications on stem cell therapy in muscular dystrophy. Here's a short video of this child from California, United States. He was completely wheelchair bound when he came to us. He could not stand. He had not stood for 2 years before. He could just about crawl. He could barely crawl. This is before he came to us. No sitting, no walking. And now you can see after stem cell, he's able to stand by himself, which is great because he had not stood for 2 years. Initially, he started walking with a walker, and that is great because his legs were not moving at all before. And now you can see he's walking, holding a parallel bar, much less support. And this is good because this is impossible before. Now you can see he's walking indoors all by himself without any help. And now you can see that he's walking outdoors as well. And his improvement was amazing. When he went back to America, President Obama heard about this, and he was actually invited to the White House to meet the President of the United States to discuss his improvements, which normally does not happen. So that was amazing. Then we have intellectual disability. Earlier, this was referred to as mental retardation. We don't use that word anymore. It's called intellectual disability. And, stem cells help in neuroreparative process over here. And these are just the scans which we have, the damage areas we have identified. So these are our results. So you can see 84% of our children improve, 20% significantly, 25 moderate, 39 mild, and 13% don't improve. The functions that improve are their memory, cognition, understanding, problem solving, understanding of relationships, social inhibition, and tolerant training. And the world's first scientific paper on stem cell therapy in intellectual disability is again published by us. That's a distinct honor. And we've published several papers after that. And here's a scan to show you before. You can see the blue, light blue is the damage before, and you can see afterwards, post stem cell, this damage is gone. This is just to show you, before and after of the patients. And so in intellectual disability, we did what is called a control study. A control study is one where half the patients get the treatment and half the patients don't get the treatment. And then you compare the differences, So we had 29 patients who, took stem cells along with rehab, and 29 patients who took rehab only. And we looked at the data, and as you can see, these are different improvements, but in the significant improvement group, 62%, were, in the stem cell group, and only 13% in the rehab group. And these are all the symptoms, and you can see, like 55% improved in, cognition, and all these different aspects. You can see the percentage of improvements. And these are the outcome scores. There is a FIM and a VFIM and IQ. And you can see that blue, which is the treated with stem cell group, have a much better outcome as compared to the orange, which is those who receive rehab only, no stem cells. And this is just all, again, a comparison of all of that. And here you can see above and below the differences. You can see here the brain is so, not lit, there's more blue here, hardly any green. And post stem cells, the whole brain is become green, which is amazing. Here again, show you before and after improvements. And so the damage in ID is a little lesser than that in autism in terms of the severity. And these are the things that improve. We already discussed this: tolerant training, social inhibition, understanding of relationships, problem solving, and cognition. We'll run through, we'll skip some of these videos. Spinal cord injury, when there's an accident or fall from a height, the spine gets fractured, the person loses power in both the legs. He becomes what's called paraplegic or quadriplegic, where you can't use either both your hand, lower limbs, or your lower limbs and higher limbs. And this is our data with spinal cord injury. 24% had a significant improvement, 56 was moderate, 50 is mild, and 3% did not improve. So this is our data from spinal cord injury. These are all the symptoms that improve, their spasticity, they have a recovery of sensations, the activities of daily living, trunk control, postural hypertension, etc. And this is our paper published on thoracic injury in the Journal of Neurorespirology as to the results on spinal cord injury. And then we have several other papers after that. So here's a video of this soldier from the Indian Army who was shot by terrorists. His spine was fractured. And when he came to us, he was totally bedridden. He couldn't even sit. And now you can see that he started sitting, he started moving, he started independently shifting himself, which was completely impossible before. And he's able to go from his wheelchair to his car independently. And there you can see that he's walking, and he joined back the army. The army normally doesn't take back paralyzed people. He also won the nation's most prestigious award for bravery, the Shaurya Chakra from the President of India. And he also won the bronze medal in the pre-national Olympics. He's back on active duty. So those are the kind of improvements that you can get with stem cells. You can have brain stroke where one half of the brain either doesn't get enough blood or gets too much blood, and you have a stroke. This is our data, which shows that 51% of our patients had a good, significant improvement. 29% moderate, 11 mild, and 3% did not improve. So results of stroke are really very good. And here's a scan before. You can see the blue areas, the damage, and after stem cell, you can see it's much reduced. This is the speech area, and you can see it's much reduced. So this is objective proof that after stem cells, there is improvement in brain function. These are all our papers on stem cell therapy in stroke. Then there is head injury, where due to a road traffic accident, the brain is damaged. These are our results, 29% significant improvement, 5% don't improve. Here is a scan where you can see the damage before, and here you can see that the damage has reduced after stem cells. And this work is published in a prestigious journal, Springer Plus, our pilot study for the use of stem cells and traumatic brain injury. These are our other papers. Then the last condition we talk about is motor neuron disease. This is a disease that's devastating. It kills 90% of the people in the first 5 years. And the degeneration of the neurons in the brain and spinal cord. There's progressive weakness, dysarthria, dysphagia, etc. So this is a comparative study we did where we compared treated to untreated. So breed is untreated. You can see how they deteriorate, and stem cell therapy patients tend to stabilize. So there's a big difference between those who did not take stem cells and those who took stem cells. Our work is published in a very prestigious journal, the American Journal of Stem Cells. This is the effect of bone marrow mononuclear cells at the survival duration in ALS. It's a controlled study. These are our other papers. And so how safe is this treatment? So what I'd like to say is the good news is we've done more than 10,000 patients, and we've not had a single major or irreversible damage, complication, adverse event due to the stem cells. There are, however, some minor, for example, 3% of the patients who already have epilepsy may develop epilepsy in the first 2 months. Please remember, this is not true for those children who have never had epilepsy. If your child has been having repeated epilepsy, then there is a 3%, it's a very small, one of 103, that in the first 2 months only, not beyond the first 2 months, he may get an increase in epilepsy. 10% of our patients get a spinal headache, nausea, vomiting, etc. So that was about the rehab and the results. Now we come to the last part, that's integrative therapies. So this is all a combination of integrative therapy machines. The centerpiece of which is hyperbaric oxygen. So basically, the principle of this is that, so you go and lie down inside, and there's a machine, there's a comfortable bed, you go and lie down. The temperature is very ambient. There's a television screen if you want to watch TV, or you can just go to sleep. And for the 1 hour you're in, your body gets flushed with oxygen. So this is the chamber, hyperbaric chamber at our institute. You can see the door opens, you go right inside. And that's a father with the child inside the chamber. It's really very comfortable. The children enjoy it. They love it. So what is the use of hyperbaric oxygen? See, normally we are breathing pressure at 1 atmospheric pressure. Now this is our blood. Our blood has got red blood cells and white blood cells and plasma. Plasma is the liquid inside. Okay. Now at normal pressure, only the red blood cell, the hemoglobin in the red blood cell carries oxygen everywhere. There is no oxygen in the plasma. There is no oxygen in the white cell, WBC cells. However, when we give oxygen under hyperbaric pressure, the oxygen goes into the plasma. So now the entire liquid of the blood is full of oxygen. And this is what causes the beneficial effects. What are the benefits of hyperbaric? So there are huge benefits. It increases energy levels, improves metabolism, stimulates oxygenation, reduces fatigue. This is what it does. And then there is ozone therapy. Now, oxygen is O3 or O2. Ozone is O3. So it's a form of activated oxygen, a little more powerful oxygen. And the advantage of O3 is, firstly, it kills any infection. So it's kills any virus, bacteria, fungal. So it's like great to take COVID. In fact, we've got 2 papers that show that ozone has a beneficial effect in COVID patients. And we've used it extensively when our hospital was a COVID hospital. We found very good improvements. It reduces inflammation and swelling. And it reduces blood clots. And it's an antioxidant. So that's what O3 is. So ozone is, like I said, a wonderful antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, anticoagulant, kills viruses. And you can give it in different ways. This is a chamber. So in a chamber, you just go and sit on the stool and this will flush your system. You can give it for rectal, from the ear. You can make the child breathe it. So these are different ways of giving it. It has a lot of powerful anticoagulant and gut beneficial issues. So this is what ozone does. It will kill any infection, it will detoxify your body, reduces swelling, it has an anti-aging benefit, it increases the energy, increases oxygenation, and betters your immune system. So here, so this is about a therapy called gut cleansing or colon hydrotherapy. And you can see here before the gut how it is. There are various viruses, good and bad, and the wall is not healthy. Once you flush this, clean this, all this infection goes away, and you have a very healthy clean gut. So this is colon hydrotherapy, gut cleansing. This is the machine that we have. Then we have acupressure, which is induces a state of relaxation, and it has several beneficial effects, including improving blood circulation. Then we have intravenous vitamins and minerals, because they cause a lot of problems, having less vitamins, having less nutrients. So this is what we use, a combination of magnesium, calcium, zinc, selenium, vitamin D, C, A, D, K, omega-3, glutathione, and acetylcysteine. So we have a combination of this. Every child doesn't get this. We do the blood reports, and depending on what is inadequate, we replace or compensate that. So this is our institute, the Neurosurgery Brain and Spine Institute, located in Navi Mumbai, India. We have treated over 10,000 patients from 70 different countries, from all the 6 continents. So 70 countries, now that is a lot. Okay, patients from 70 countries have come to us. That's our core team. Apart from myself, you just heard Dr. Nandini speak. Dr. Prerna is our stem cell expert. Dr. Jacob is India's senior most rehabilitation expert, and Dr. Himangi. Actually, there was a small video of hers before. For want of time, we went ahead. She was actually developed motor neuron disease, or ALS, when she was in America. She got her MD from America. She was working in a hospital, and she lost power in all her hands and legs. She couldn't speak. Voice was gone. And in America, she went to the best places, including Johns Hopkins, and everybody told her nothing can be done. You're going to die in a few months. But she didn't give up hope. She came to me in India and I treated her, which was over 10 years ago. And now she's not only improved, she's better, and she works as the head of our research department. So that is her motivation level, and that is the benefit of stem cells. So we believe a lot in quality control. So we have good laboratory and good manufacturing practice certifications. We have been, considered by the European Medical Association for best medical practice. Basically, this means you're sticking to European standards of medical care, especially quality control. So the EMA has approved us, has given us a certification. We have written 12 books on different topics. There are books on autism, cerebral palsy, muscular dystrophy, and these books are distributed free of cost. If you write to us, we'll send you hard copies, or you can download this from the internet. We have received several awards, the most prestigious of which is the Rose of Paracelsus Award. It comes from the nomination committee at Oxford, and we were honored to receive this award. This is for the nature of the research that we do. We also were awarded from the European Society for Quality Research as the European Award for Best Practices 2018. So these are, again, you get this for pioneering research, innovative work that you've done. We were awarded the Best Stem Cell Therapy Center in India at the National Healthcare Excellence Awards twice in a row. The second time we were given the award by the Minister of Health. Now, to help you make the decision, you could visit our website, which is www.neurogenbsi.com. You could email us at neurogenbsi.com. You get a reply. If you email us, you get a reply within 15 minutes. We have set up a system, and the reply is from a doctor. It is not from some administrative person. You can WhatsApp chat with us, audio video call with us. That's the number below, 9920-200-400. Or you could do a Skype interview with prior appointment. Once you've decided you're coming, then we appoint a coordinator who becomes a single point of contact. Will help you through the whole process, getting your visa. What kind of travel arrangements to make, what paperwork you have to carry, what precautions you have to carry. So all that will be assisted by a coordinator. You arrive on a Sunday. Monday is all the evaluation and tests. Tuesday is stem cell therapy. Wednesday, Saturday is rehab. Saturday is discharge, but now this is a 1 week option, and now we have a 2 week option where you can stay for longer, and you, instead of having just 4 days of rehab, you can have 10 days of rehab, and you get 10 sessions of hyperbaric and 10 sessions of ozone therapy and 10 of deep tissue mobilization. So you get 10 days. So you can either take the 7-day stay or the 15-day stay. This is a mother who traveled some time ago, last year in the middle of the pandemic, from Zambia, and she shares her experience.
My full name is Lord from the Banda. I use Banda because I'm married. I am from Kitwe, Zambia. Zambia is a country in Africa, Central Africa. That's where I am coming from. I came on the 27th of November from Lusaka, Zambia, via Dar es Salaam in Tanzania to Mumbai, which is in India. I brought my son to the NeuroGen Institute, Brain and Spine Institute. From Zambia to India, I traveled safely. All that is required, should I say, for a person around this time of the COVID period to travel is to have the COVID certificates, which I did. We managed to get them on time to travel. So traveling from Zambia to Dar es Salaam was all right. They did not ask a lot of issues other than the exemption certificate from the NeuroGen Center. That's the very most important document that one has got to have in order to travel. Otherwise, they don't allow anyone on the plane. So once they saw that one, from Lusaka, Zambia. They asked the same, even in Mumbai, when I arrived, it was the same document. The NeuroGen team have been very, very excellent in as far as giving documentation is concerned. They are efficient, they produce the information right on time. They never delayed. In my preparations, I had them on time. The NeuroGen Institute, the NeuroGen Center is very, very accommodating staff in my country. They're just giving visas for medical travel. It doesn't matter where you're going, but it has to be a medical visa. That medical visa is issued to the person who is traveling, who is sick, as well as the attendant or attendants. So the airports are not congested as before. The airports are just okay, but still there are a lot of people traveling.
So my conclusion is that adult stem cell therapy, that's what we use, is a safe and a very effective treatment. Notice I've said safe before effective for autism, cerebral palsy, and for many other pediatric and adult conditions for which there are no other definitive treatment options. We'll end, you earlier heard the Prime Minister of India talking about stem cells. The world's two biggest democracies are India and America. Now let's hear what former president of the United States had to say about stem cells.
Scientists believe these tiny cells may have the potential to help us understand and possibly cure some of our most devastating diseases and conditions, to regenerate the severed spinal cord and lift someone from a wheelchair, to spur insulin production and spare a child from a lifetime of needles, to treat Parkinson's, cancer, heart disease, and others that affect millions of Americans and the people who love them. Today, with the executive order I am about to sign, we will bring the change that so many scientists and researchers, doctors and innovators, patients and loved ones have hoped for and fought for these past 8 years. We will lift the ban on federal funding for promising embryonic stem cell research. There's no finish line in the work of science. The race is always with us. The urgent work of giving substance to hope and answering those many bedside prayers, of seeking a day when words like terminal and incurable are potentially retired from our vocabulary.
All right, so I'd like to thank you, for your attention, and I'm open to any questions. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. I'll be answering all the questions now. I'd also like you to know that all those who attended this webinar, you are entitled to a free, without any cost, one-on-one consultation with me. So if you call the number on the screen, that's +91 9920 200 400. You could set up a virtual consultation either with myself or Dr. Nandini, and this is at no cost, and then we could answer all your personal questions with regards to your child. So Carolyn Garama asks, I have a cousin 20 years old, moderate on the spectrum, lost his eyesight. What can stem cells do for him? He is moderate on the spectrum. He will do well. He will do very well with stem cells, although his age is a little more than what it should be. 20 is a little beyond. But he will benefit. The oldest patient we treat is 38 years old. He's lost his eyesight, so I don't know the cause why he's lost his eyesight. If I knew that, I might be able to help you better. So I don't know what I can do for his eyesight, but we can definitely help his autism. And he's 20 years old, so we shouldn't wait too much, because the longer we wait, the lesser results we get. Moderate autism, 20 years old, can be helped with stem cells. About eyesight, I can't tell you till I know the reason why he lost his eyesight and where the damage is. I hope that answered your question, Caroline. George Otino says, can stem cell help patients with speech disorders? Yes, George, it can definitely help. We treated several children, adults with speech disorders, and it can help patients with speech disorders. We will, of course, have to do an evaluation. You can do a free virtual consult with me or Dr. Nandini. You'll see what the problems are, and then we'll be able to guide you as to what is to be done further. But the answer to my question is yes, it can help with speech disorders. Batsirai Rusambu asked, some say lumbar punctures are risky. What's your position since you inject the spine? See, I'm a neurosurgeon, and we do all kinds of major surgeries on the spine, but this is not a surgery, it's just a needle prick, which we put into the spinal fluid. We do not touch the spinal cord. We do not touch any nerves. It's a very thin needle. The needle is thinner than the one which we use to withdraw blood. It's a very thin needle. It is lower down where the nerves have ended. So we've done more than 10,000 lumbar punctures, for stem cells, and I've done thousands of others for other. It's a standard, regular procedure. In the last 30 years of my practice, I have never once seen a problem with a lumbar puncture. So it's not risky at all. The statement that it is risky, that's incorrect. Yeah. Okay, I'm waiting for any more questions. All right. Yeah, so Isaac Varambo wants us to send a PowerPoint. What we do is we will, this webinar is recorded with the PowerPoint, and it is available on our YouTube channel. Yeah, so if you prescribe to the NeuroGen YouTube channel, you can watch not just the PowerPoint, but also my talk and my speech. So, but if you want us to send you the PowerPoint, just the PowerPoint, well, please call us or email us, and we'll have it sent to you. Yeah. Adil Chiswa thanks us for the presentation. Thank you, Adil, for your thanks. Temitayu Kola Banjo says, "Wow, amazing proof." Thank you. Yes, we do have amazing proof. It's just the world is not ready to listen to it. But these are our children, and we should do whatever is possible for them. Here is a simple, safe, effective treatment using their own cells. We are using cells from our own child, putting it back into the cells, and I see no reason, based on the evidence and publication we have, that this should not be done. All right, I wait for any more questions. Questions, correct? All right, I don't see any more questions. So if there are no more questions, we will end the webinar. There's a new message. Let's see what the message is. Okay, Mabel says, what are the current restrictions on traveling to India? So India has opened up its travel. So all you need is a negative RT-PCR done 48 hours before you come here. So there are no travel restrictions to come to India now, so long as you have an RT-PCR, and there is no isolation if you're carrying a letter from us saying that you have to, you're coming to the hospital. So we have about, even right now presently, anywhere between 10 to 15 patients coming to us every week. And they all are being allowed from the airport to come. So there is no problem at all. We send you a car. We send you the number of the car and the driver number, because you have to give all that when you come. Yes, it takes a little longer to come out as compared to earlier, because there is some paperwork. You have to show the RT-PCR. But with the RT-PCR negative and a letter from us, basically there is no restriction to travel to India. Pauline thanks us for the information. Thank you, Pauline. I'm happy that we were of some help to you. Batsirai Rusumbu says, how many times can one get stem cell therapy? Well, actually, there's no limit to the amount of times you can get. There has to be a minimum 6-month gap between therapies, but it all depends on the damage. So the damage is in the brain is either mild, moderate, or severe. If the damage is mild or mild to moderate, then you just need a single treatment. But if the damage is moderate to severe, then you may need more than one treatment. You may need 2 treatments. But this depends on the amount of. But it can be given as many. There's no limit to the number of times. With gaps of 6 months, we can give it as many times as possible. All right, I await more questions. If anybody. Temitayu Kola Banjo says, thank you so much for the presentation on this. My second time on joining the webinar. I was going to ask you about the effect of the therapy on tiptoeing, walking on the toes. But the last video you showed has given me more hope that stem cell therapy will do a lot for my daughter. I will appreciate if you can post more of your videos on YouTube channel. Thank you. Thank you, Temitayu. We will post more videos of this on our YouTube channel. Yes, what we have found is that the tiptoeing and walking on the toes disappears. It doesn't become less, it disappears. You know, all our kids, after the stem cell therapy, they start walking normally. We look forward to your coming here. We'll definitely be able to help your daughter. All right, so I'm happy to answer any more questions. So I'd like to thank all the participants. I'd like to thank Temitayu. I'd like to thank Vatsirai. I'd like to thank George Otino. I'd like to thank Carolyn Garama. I'd like to thank, I think that's all of you URLs. I'm just reading out the names. I'd like to thank. All right, I think that's all the participants. And I'd like to thank Isaac Varambo. Isaac says that was very nice. Thank you, Isaac. I'd like to thank Pauline for attending the seminar. I'd like to thank Mabel Laria for attending the seminar. I'd like to thank Adil Chiswa for attending the seminar. It was wonderful talking to all of you, and I hope that we were able to give you some insight. We have, I'd just like to share with you. So, can we post, can we just set, guess the latest video question answer we have? How can people access that? Okay, we will, okay, there's a question. My son used to headbang his head on the wall. That's how he lost his sight. Oh, that is so tragic. Well, I'm not sure we can restore his eyesight because that's a physical damage to the eye, but we can certainly help him with his autism. We can't help him with his eyesight. So we have just recently, about a week ago, we had a question and answer session between 2 sets of parents and me and Dr. Nandini, and that's a 2-hour long question answer session. So all the questions you have in your mind, these are parents who asked us, and so that video is up on YouTube. It's a 2-hour interview, but you know, every possible question you have was asked to us by parents, and we answered those questions. So I think all the people who are on this, that link will be emailed to you because your emails are registered with us. Please do watch it because it's very interesting because there are 2 sets of parents. One set of parents, both were doctors. The father and mother were doctors. They were from India. The other set of parents was from the United States, where the mother was a pharmacist from the hospital. So they asked us very interesting questions, and we had a very interesting 2-hour, you know, back-to-back conversations. That was very nice. All right, so okay, I think there are no more questions. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening. Stay in touch. Any more questions? You're welcome to email us or call us at the number on the screen. And you can. I strongly suggest that you all set up a 1:1 consultation with me or Dr. Nandini. You can choose any of us, whoever you prefer to talk to, and we'll be able to answer all your questions. You know, individually, personally. So thank you very much, and I wish you all a good evening. Yeah, and I hope you have a relaxed weekend ahead. Bye-bye.